They called her an angel of mercy, quiet, polite, invisible in plain sight. But behind the sterile white walls of a neonatal ward, something unspeakable was happening. Babies dying without warning, parents grieving without answers, and at the center of it all, Nurse Lucy Letby. This is the story of how a seemingly sweet, soft-spoken nurse became the most prolific child killer in modern British history. How she preyed on the most vulnerable, how the system failed to stop her, and how one grieving father refused to let his child's death be swept under the rug. Lucy Letby was the kind of nurse hospitals loved. Low profile, no complaints, always available, the kind you don't notice, the kind you trust. But inside the NICU at the Countess of Chester Hospital, a horrifying pattern began to emerge. Babies who were once stable would suddenly crash. Resuscitations would fail. Internal bleeding, air embolisms, insulin overdoses. And still, nobody suspected Lucy. Until one day, Baby C, born premature but strong, Baby C was doing well, until Letby took the night shift. By morning, he was gone. The hospital called it a tragic coincidence. But his father, Mr. Williams, didn't buy it. Mr. Williams couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. He replayed every moment in his head. His son had been making progress. Nurses had been hopeful. So why did things change when Lucy Letby walked in? He began asking questions, quietly at first. Who was with my son during his last hours? He got brushed off. You're grieving, Mr. Williams. Please take care of yourself. But he didn't stop. Then, he found something. A parents' support group online. One by one, families from the same hospital, same unit, same nurse. The names didn't lie. There was always one common denominator, Lucy Letby. Still, hospital administrators refused to act. She was a dedicated nurse, they said. No record of misconduct. No red flags. But Mr. Williams kept digging, and then came Baby E. His twin had survived. He hadn't. A nurse, new on the ward, overheard Letby muttering something strange. He won't last the night. The baby's health had been improving. So why was he dead by morning? That nurse reported her, quietly, but it reached the wrong ears. Management didn't investigate Lucy. They moved her to another ward. The death stopped. For a while. Then Lucy came back. And so did the deaths. That was when Mr. Williams had had enough. He went to the police, armed with notes, timelines, conversations with other parents. He wasn't asking anymore. He was demanding an investigation. And finally, someone listened. Detectives began reviewing medical files. Patterns emerged, air injections, poisonings, and chillingly handwritten notes found in Lucy's home. I am evil. I did this. She had kept a diary, detailed, obsessive, every shift, every death, every twisted justification. Letby was arrested. But it wasn't over. In court, her lawyers painted her as a scapegoat, a shy woman caught in a web of tragic coincidences. Hospital negligence, poor supervision. The courtroom was packed. Mothers cried quietly. Fathers clenched fists. And then Mr. Williams took the stand. His voice shook, but his words were clear. She looked me in the eye. She said my son was doing well, then she killed him. Lucy Letby was found guilty of murdering 7 infants and attempting to kill 6 more. Her sentence? Life. No parole. Justice, yes, but justice delayed, because those babies, those lives, can never come back. And the system? It looked away, over and over, until a father forced it to look again. Call to action. If you believe in fighting for the voiceless, if you believe that no one, no matter how powerful or protected, should escape accountability, then share this story. Speak their names. Don't let silence cover up what persistence exposed. Sometimes the quietest people hide the darkest secrets. And sometimes the loudest cries for justice come from the ones society tries to silence. Never stop asking questions. even when they tell you it's all in your head. Because what the world doesn't know yet is that Lucy Letby may not have acted alone, and someone inside that hospital helped her cover it up. The investigation into Lucy Letby had barely ended when a whistleblower stepped forward, an anonymous hospital employee. He contacted Mr. Williams, the same father who exposed Letby, and said just 5 words. They knew, and they lied. Mr. Williams met him in a cold parking garage on the edge of town. No cameras, no witnesses. The man handed over a USB drive and walked away without a word. What was on that drive? Confidential hospital emails, buried incident reports, deleted complaints from staff who had warned management again and again that something was wrong with Lucy. One email from the head of nursing said, "Letby's presence seems correlated with negative outcomes. Recommend reassignment pending internal review." The response? "We can't afford another scandal. She stays." Mr. Williams brought this to police, but weeks passed. Nothing happened. That's when he knew. This went deeper. A second whistleblower came forward, a senior pediatrician. He'd kept records. He'd reported suspicions. He was told to stop creating panic. Hospital leadership didn't just ignore the warning signs, they silenced them. And when Lucy was finally moved off the NICU, it wasn't punishment, it was protection, to avoid bad press, to avoid lawsuits. They sent her back once things had cooled down, and the deaths resumed. With mounting pressure from families, the media began digging. Journalists uncovered that the hospital's board had hired a PR crisis firm during the peak of the baby deaths, not to investigate, but to control the narrative. A bombshell dropped. One of the board members had family ties to a high-level NHS regulator, the same regulator who had delayed Letby's suspension for over a year. It was no longer just about a killer nurse. It was about a system that chose silence over justice. Mr. Williams demanded a public inquiry, and this time people listened. Headlines exploded. Former staff came forward. Nurses broke NDAs. A toxic web of cover-ups was unraveling, and then someone leaked a list. 10 names, 10 babies, all suspicious deaths, never reported, never investigated. Letby's name was on 5 of them. But the other 5? Another nurse, still working, still active. Lucy Letby is behind bars. But the system that enabled her, it's cracking. What started as a father's lonely fight has become a national reckoning. The quiet, sterile walls of the hospital can't hide the truth anymore, but the full truth, still hiding in plain sight. In the final email on that USB drive, dated 2 days before Letby's arrest, was one chilling line. If she goes down, she's not going alone. So who else was in that room? And who's protecting them, right now? It started with a single mother named Naomi. Her baby boy Micah was born premature but strong. She remembered the nurse with short auburn hair and a voice that sounded too calm for a crisis. That night, Micah coded unexpectedly. He was gone in minutes. Naomi asked questions. No answers. She asked for Lucy Letby's name. They told her Lucy hadn't worked that night. She was on leave, they said, but Naomi remembered the face. And it wasn't Lucy's. It was someone else. A nurse listed only as KT in the shift report. Naomi went online, found the parent support group Mr. Williams had built, shared her story. The group gasped. KT's name had come up before, quietly, buried in threads, dismissed, overlooked, until now. Mr. Williams added KT to the database he'd been building with grieving parents. A new pattern emerged. 6 babies had died while Lucy Letby was confirmed off-duty. Different months, different shifts, same secondary nurse. KT. She had worked alongside Letby, shadowed her, trained under her. And when Lucy disappeared, KT stepped up. One email found in the whistleblower's USB was from Lucy to KT just days before Lucy's arrest. It read, If things fall apart, stick to the plan. You know what to say. It wasn't just chilling, it was incriminating. But when police were pressed to investigate KT, they hesitated, said it wasn't conclusive, said she had an unblemished record, just like Lucy did. Naomi and Mr. Williams took it public, a live stream, thousands tuned in. They named KT on air, spoke their truths, held up photos, death certificates, shift schedules. The hashtag trended worldwide. # justice for Micah, # who is Nurse K. More families came forward, one after another. And then, shockingly, KT vanished. She resigned from the hospital. Phone disconnected, no forwarding address, gone. Until she showed up 2 weeks later, not in a courtroom, not in an interview, but in the Caribbean, living under a new name, funded by an off-the-book severance from the hospital board. Mr. Williams flew to London with Naomi. They met with a new legal team, a team not tied to the NHS. Independent investigators reopened the baby death files, new forensics, new timelines. They found a match. Micah's toxicology showed a rare sedative, not part of NICU protocol. Same compound found in another baby, baby L, who died while Letby was on holiday. That sedative? Linked to KT's prior employment at another hospital, one that also had an unusual spike in neonatal deaths, but where no charges were ever filed. Coincidence? Or a cold trail of murder left behind by a second shadow? Lucy Letby may have been the face of evil, but KT? She may have been the ghost behind it, the one no one watched, the one who walked away clean. Until now. It began with a leaked financial report, a routine audit. Nothing unusual, until an anonymous source within the NHS flagged a single, off-the-books payout, £127,000, coded as Emergency Relocation Settlement. The recipient? KT. The approval signature? Dr. Alistair Penbrook, Chief Medical Director. A man praised for bringing order during the Letby trial. He was the public face of calm during the storm. Cameras loved him, but behind closed doors, he was the gatekeeper, and the gate was wide open. Emails uncovered by Naomi and Mr. Williams's legal team revealed a horrifying timeline. March 17, 2015. A nurse reports concerns about KT's unusual behavior after baby L's sudden death. March 18, 2015. Dr. Penbrook replies, "We'll handle this internally." March 20th, 2015. The nurse who reported KT is reassigned. March 23rd, 2015. KT is given a glowing performance review. It wasn't neglect, it was suppression. Then came the resignation files. Mr. Williams's team got hold of KT's exit interview. It was redacted. Entire pages blacked out. But one line slipped through. "I was only doing what I was told. Ask Dr. Penbrook." The legal team filed a public inquiry demand. Pressure mounted. Protesters gathered outside the hospital. Mothers carried baby shoes on sticks. Fathers held signs with their children's names. Reporters surrounded Dr. Penbrook's home. He refused to speak. Then quietly, he fled the country. Destination, Dubai. But what he didn't expect was the international arrest warrant issued 2 days later. Interpol picked him up at the airport. He wasn't just accused of misconduct. He was charged with gross negligence, manslaughter, and conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. Back in the UK, a new investigation opened into his leadership. Testimonies flooded in from nurses who were ignored, junior doctors threatened, parents dismissed. One doctor broke down on camera. "We were told to protect the hospital's reputation over patient lives." A financial analyst revealed that Dr. Penbrook approved 3 undisclosed settlements to employees who raised red flags about Letby and KT, each one tied to a non-disclosure agreement. And finally, the smoking gun. A phone recording, voicemail left on KT's burner phone. "We've done what we can. If it all falls apart, go silent. Dubai's ready if you need it. It was Dr. Penbrook's voice. The crimes of Lucy Letby and Nurse K were horrifying, but what made them possible was the system built by men like Dr. Alistair Penbrook, a man who chose reputation over truth, a man who cached silence and buried children beneath policy. This isn't just a story about evil, it's a story about what happens when power is left unchecked. If you believe hospitals should save lives, not hide deaths, share this. Keep the pressure on. Demand transparency. The victims cannot speak, but we can. Justice doesn't begin with a trial. It begins the moment someone refuses to stay quiet. It begins with a grieving father, a mother who won't let go, a truth that refuses to die. Systems are only powerful until we expose what they protect.